All right, that is a wrap. Major General Senona is in the hot seat, or was rather, at the Madlanga Commission. It then resumes tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. His relationship with Vusimuzi Cat Matlala continuing, of course, to be under the spotlight, including, of course, those sensitive documents and information between him, shared with him, as well as Cat Matlala. It's a day to understand for him. The issue under the discussion before the adjournment was, in fact, about these three documents that were sent to Matlala, to Senona rather, by Matlala. One of the documents, the second document, a redacted file sent to him, apparently contains confidential information about President Cyril Ramaphosa, as we've been hearing. Senona also saying that he did not open those documents. You'll recall, of course, earlier on saying that he also didn't open documents that he had sent to Matlala. He says he had seen the contents. Had he seen the contents of that particular document referencing President Cyril Ramaphosa, he would have reported the document to his superiors. Now, Senona says that the commission also did not send him the documents, and that one of them is, in fact, riddled or fiddled with, in his words, that he said earlier on. Now, in terms of the other documentation that were also, under review, earlier on he was probed about why he shared these sensitive court documentation with Matlala about alleged kidnapping kingpin Nangi, containing on one point confidential documents which included police officers' names, their ID documentation and ID numbers. At the time, which is quite important, he sent those documents. He had full top security clearance before it expired, in fact, in that same year, in September of 2025. I do believe, of course, Canny Maphanga, our senior reporter who's been monitoring developments about today's proceedings, joins us now. Canny, of course, another explosive testimony before the commission today at the Madlanga Commission. Just give us a sense then in terms of just some of the top areas or points of contention that we heard this afternoon. All right, Canny is still getting ready to speak to us. Of course, earlier on, Senona was also asked about the Tembisa Hospital tender scandal, saying that he learned of whistleblower Babita Deokaran's murder, in fact, through media reports, and that's what he said, and that he didn't realize that one of the companies implicated in the underlying corruption was, in fact, Cat Matlala. I do believe Canny is with us now. Canny, of course, another day of quite explosive testimony by Senona, quite frankly, also being pressed upon in terms of, responses of how a police officer, in his seniority with top secret security clearance could share sensitive information to Vusimuzi Matlala, who was under investigation. In fact, the commission saying that his responses were very benign. Just give us a sense then around this matter and, of course, his testimony throughout the day.
Indeed. Good afternoon to you, Nati, and to the viewers at home. We've seen Major General Senona go through that very tough exercise of cross-examination where he has been pressed in quite forensic detail about his version that is not quite probable or doesn't quite make sense to the Commission's bench. You may remember that when he started as evidence-in-chief, that he gave strong denials about this relationship with alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Cat Matlala and attempted to water it down as that of a social relationship between the pair that is limited to social things or current affairs. However, the difficulty with that testimony, and in light of the evidence that is before this particular probe, is that they actually have a great deal of the evidence from the WhatsApp exchanges that were extracted from the phone of Vusimuzi Cat Matlala. And of course, in those WhatsApp exchanges, it paints a completely different picture to what Senona is trying to convey to the Commission. Obviously, Unati, the posture he is taking to try and create a distance between himself and alleged cartel member, Vusimuzi Cat Matlala, is in relation to the alleged criminality criminality that accompanies Matlala, because he is fully aware of his position as a Hawks head, KZN provincial Hawks head, and that the kind of work that DPCI does would raise questions if he concedes that he would have had an alleged improper relationship with Vusimuzi Kat Matlala. So you've seen a pattern throughout the testimony where he seeks to paint it as just a social relationship where he provides moral support, but when asked about serious questions that raise, I guess, this theme of how he could not know about the alleged criminality that accompanies this particular individual, all of a sudden he can't recall those finer details. But it is the Commission's understanding that he actually can recall the details, but he's fully aware of the fact, Unati, that if he delves into that particular area, then you would have to concede that he is a high-ranking SABC official, that is the KZN Hawks head, that was actively engaging in communication with Vusimuzi Kat Matlala, actively allegedly leaking confidential information to him, and providing alleged assistance to him with respect to his SABC contract, and giving him phone numbers of other officials, as well as facilitating that meeting, allegedly, with the KZN top cop, Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
Of course, plenty to go through then tomorrow when that commission resumes again tomorrow. Kenny, thank you so much for that. Canny Maphanga monitoring those developments for us.